Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Cindy Simpson?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Robin Porter?
Here.
Trustee Andreas Esparza?
Here.
Trustee Corey DeWolf? Trustee Nick Manning? Trustee Daniel Hennick?
Here.
Trustee David Hayne?
Here.
All right. We have a quorum. I would entertain a motion of approving the agenda for the.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now we move on to our audience business, public comment period, and lots of new faces. So as I always do, I'm going to run through kind of the rules around it so that y'all know. Under audience business, Senate Bill 23-131 prohibits firearms in public buildings with the exception of law enforcement. All people wishing to address the board shall do so from the podium provided in the boardroom. That's right over there. And all comments will be directed to the board, not out to the audience. And public comments regarding items not on the agenda shall be limited to 5 minutes per person unless part of a formal presentation, and we don't have any tonight. Public comments regarding public hearing items on the agenda will be limited to 3 minutes per person, and that will be at the time the item comes up on the agenda. Special presentations of items not on the agenda, limited to 5 minutes. Board will appoint a timekeeper, which is Brent, because he remembers to do it. All people from the podium shall clearly and audibly state their name, physical address, and the town business topic they wish to speak about prior to speaking. And help us out, Mercedes has to write it down and spell it correctly, so help us out, okay? So no person shall be allowed to speak until recognized by the mayor. Requests to the board to accept written information shall be accepted at that time, though no action will be taken at the meeting. Written information accepted at the meeting shall be provided in the board packet for the next meeting if necessary. Now we do have kind of an unusual circumstance in that we were in a workshop, now we're having a public meeting, and then we're going to go back into a workshop. All right, so the second workshop is on our agenda, but we don't take public comment during workshops. Y'all can stay and listen to us, but we won't take any public comment. So if you wish to comment on the workshop item, do it now, okay? Don't wait and then you'll be out of luck, okay? I also wanted to say at the request of at least one of our trustees that we, the town board, appreciate all speakers who share their ideas regarding the town of Mancos concerns, which sometimes extend beyond policy and it may involve emotional and psychological well-being. We do not respond to speakers regarding their topics because it's not on our agenda, and for transparency and all of that, it's illegal for us to take action or comment on whatever y'all bring up. We have to do it later after we've published the agenda. And that way we ensure that we maintain our transparency and legality. We do evaluate and establish policy within our municipal authority, taking into consideration all legal requirements, financial and operational realities, and long-term implications. All right, so having said that, I don't know which one was first.
Go with the blue ink on the date.
The blue ink? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. All right, so first up on the sign-in sheet is Lucy Hedrick. Oh, Mr. Worth, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you could be here for hours. Thank you for reminding me.
Hello, I'm Mark Worth. You guys know me, you know why I'm here, but for the record, I live at 10750 Road 43, on the property where the town diverts the water and has settling ponds, and is about to install a pipeline for the rollout of the town. You guys know about the 1960 Shepherd easement. All of you know the obligation of the second tap called out in the 1960 easement is not satisfied by a tap into an empty, dry pipeline. I think some of you understand that there is a correlation between the unused water paragraph in the 1960 agreement and the outlet discharging that was specifically designed to discharge the town's unused water after it had come into the system and been measured. The system was designed to take up to the full 1.4 CFS water right, which the town holds in the river, from the river, and allow only water needed through the valve at the treatment plant at the end of the pipeline. This allowed the town staff to adjust the water flowing into the ponds by the tanks from that end without having to go out onto our property 7 miles away. Discharging through this outlet, the big one you saw that had the water pouring out of it, a few vertical feet below the partial, avoids flooding that measuring device, and the flow can be controlled from the water treatment plant. The intent of the 1960s Mancus Trustees was to compensate the landowner for the use of 1 acre of land for a river diversion and settling ponds. Clearly, I don't want to speak about somebody who's not here today, but it is my impression that your attorney has advised you that you can use our land without any compensation until the court orders you to either meet the terms of the 1960 easement or to sign a new easement. I'm assuming that's the case. My question is, why do you think the town should use our land forever and without any compensation? I'm asking you to think about whether you believe the town should dig up hundreds of feet of wetlands when the impact could be reduced significantly with a small realignment. The town is engineering this pipeline now, or perhaps has engineered the pipeline. I do not know. I'm asking, please, one of you, do something before the contractors unnecessarily trash these wetlands. Before adjourning at this meeting, one of you needs to request a work session where we can work this out, or an executive session where you can talk about it amongst yourselves. Or if your fellow trustees concur, I truly believe that you can direct your public works director to work with me to evaluate alignments that could reduce the negative impacts of the pipeline project. And if you're so inclined, have him install a tap. My wife and I are asking to work with you to minimize the impact on the wetlands and to create an easement for the private land that the town is using. We are only asking for 1 3/4 inch tap. Please take action at this meeting, at the end of the meeting, before adjournment. Take that action before the plans are finalized, before the project is bid, and before the excavator tears through the wetlands. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Lucy Hedrick. And before you get started, I don't want to interrupt you later. No hooting and hollering and applauding. We'll do one big woohoo at the end, but we can really keep this flowing better if we observe decorum. All right, go ahead, Lisa.
Good evening. My name is Lucy Hedrick. My address is 12572 Road 31.9. I'm here to speak about the resolution centering the safety, dignity, and constitutional rights of Black, Brown, and marginalized residents in the town of Mancos. Tonight, I am here as an advocate, not only for impacted members of the community, but for you as board members. I'm here to encourage, inspire, and empower you to do everything you can to uphold the values of our beautiful town. As Clarissa Pincola Estes said in her letter to a young activist during troubled times, "My friends, do not lose heart. We were made for these times." First, I'll read a statement from my friend and boss, Sarah Tingy. I want to recognize the impact that ICE has on our community and voice my support for this resolution. As a business owner at Alpaca Raft, I can speak firsthand to the incredible talents and invaluable contributions of multiple Black and Brown individuals who we work with daily and who also reside within the town of Mancos. They directly contribute to the economic value that Alpaca brings to the town of Mancos. However, this should not be the reason why they are respected members of this community. All people in our town deserve to feel safe, valued, heard, supported, and welcome. Back to the business perspective, when people feel safe in their homes and in their communities and fully supported and resourced, they are able to show up fully at work with their whole creative and thinking selves. Please recognize what a wealth of talent we have here in Mancos and prioritize taking measures to ensure they feel supported and safe within the community where they have chosen to live, raise their families, and work. As for my own perspective, these are my coworkers, neighbors, friends, and family we're talking about. My sister is an immigrant, adopted at age 4 from Russia. I was an immigrant, living in Quito, Ecuador in high school. Our parents would not have 2 happy, healthy, and safe daughters today if it were not for everyone, from individuals to entire government agencies, who protected our rights as immigrants. I am beyond privileged to say that I have rarely felt unwelcome or unsafe due to the visible or assumed qualities of what makes me who I am. I would guess that the majority of you could say the same. I cannot say the same is true for everyone in this community. So my challenge to each of us in this room is to do whatever we can to change that, for the love of Mancos. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Max Levin?
Hello, board. My name is Max Loving. I reside at 665 Bauer Avenue. I just wanted to say thank you again for the thoughtful consideration that y'all are putting into this proposed resolution surrounding the safety, dignity, and constitutional rights of our immigrant neighbors. This evening, I'd like to just share a few statements from impacted youth in our community, some as young as 2 years old. These are young people who experience the consequences of ICE in our community every single day. My hope is that hearing their voices and perspectives directly will further underscore the urgency and responsibility before you. These statements come from ongoing everyday interactions with Mancos youth at different clubs and programs and within the homes of impacted families. They reflect consistent lived experiences shared across settings at school, at home, and in the safe spaces where young people feel comfortable enough to speak honestly about their fears. So here are a few of those statements. I'm scared to live at home. I'm not okay. I feel unsafe. Will my family be ripped apart? I live with this fear every day. I'm scared that one day the teachers that stand up for me will be hurt for standing up for me. Why won't our town tell them to stop terrorizing us? I'm worried that ICE will come to our school and kill us. If ICE comes and I try to protect my friends, will I die? No child should have to carry this immense amount of weight. You as the board have the authority and the platform to help mitigate the fear and uncertainty that these kids are carrying every day. And I just ask that you use your voices to help protect and support the youngest members of our town. Thank you.
Thank you. Katie McClure.
Sorry, that was Katie McClure, 6554 Road 41 in Minkus. I just want to share real briefly a few things I heard after the last town meeting from some of the people of color who attended or watched that meeting. I'm honestly speechless as to how tonight went. I don't think you all understand what it meant to have white bodies surrounding me when I was literally in fight or flight, and what that means to me in a situation like this. Thank you for saying things that we couldn't and allowing us the capacity to speak on our experience. We haven't really acknowledged how scared we are, the fears we are dealing with every day, the chest pain, the heart issues, the weight loss. Thank you for giving me the space to acknowledge all that. I hadn't even thought about my own testimony. It meant a lot to be able to actually sit down with the things I've been suppressing. We've all been so worried about just protecting each other. I don't know how to explain it. That was history. That, for me at least, was history. So let that sink in a bit. That meeting where so many people of color didn't even feel safe coming in person, that meeting still, to those who did come and watched, felt like history being made. Think about what little actually happened at that meeting. You, the people in power, simply listened, and then you responded real thoughtfully, and some of you took accountability. White people simply stood up for Black and brown people. People simply shared facts and feelings, and the room was simply full of people who cared. That was history. That's it. That little bit felt so big. Big enough to have one person say it was like history being made, and another was almost brought to tears. All I ask as you go into your work session later is that you think about how you will simply show the Black and brown people in Minkus who live here that you care.
Thank you. Becky Walker.
You might remember me. My name is Becky Walker, 670 West Menifee.
Can you turn the microphone up? There you go. There you go.
Okay, I'm Becky Walker, 670 West Menifee. I didn't expect to hear what I just heard. I came here to talk about roosters. However, I am in a unique position of being a white woman with a child of color. He's 46 years old. He doesn't live here. But I can tell you, he's half Black and he presents as a Black person. Walking through life with brown skin, I've seen through his lived experience can be death by 1,000 cuts. And it has impacted his life every single day. We used to live in Cortez when he was a child. And in 4th grade, his best friends from down the street, little white boys that he played with every day on our street, started calling him Schwarzenegger. And from 4th grade on, my white son and my white daughter had to defend him on the playground. And that was in Cortez. We need to protect these people because walking around in brown skin or Black skin, they are a target. And we need to take care of this precious little jewel of a town by speaking to the troubles and problems that we're seeing develop because of ICE. I don't know if I speak about the roosters or not.
Okay. You can hang around and talk about it when we get there.
Okay,
if you
because
want.
I just feel like it's not appropriate right
That's
now.
fine.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Ice, roosters. Okay. Shannon Hazlett? Oh,
She's here for the roosters.
yeah. Roosters or ice?
Roosters.
Okay.
Okay. Shannon Heaslip, 543.5 Bauer Avenue. I had a whole thing planned, but I just got here, so. I did mention last time that I am also a massage therapist. And I just want you to imagine me as your massage therapist saying, please relax. And then, because that is what is occurring on a very common daily basis at this point. And so really what I wanted to say more than anything is, please, town of Mancus, help us. You're my only hope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kate Osterloh. Sorry.
Good evening. My name is Kate Osterloh, and I live at 6875 Road 38 in Mancus. I'm a mom and a licensed counselor here in this community and a former U.S. diplomat. And I spoke a few weeks ago, and I'm here tonight because I want to speak a little bit more. I'm tracking something concerning in the mental health of our community that others have already spoken about, particularly among immigrant families and people of color. And I believe that you all have a real opportunity to stabilize the environment. I want to read a couple of anonymous statements shared with me by people in the community from an 11-year-old immigrant kiddo translated. We used to have fun here. We used to meet our cousins at the park for a barbecue or kick the soccer ball around with our friends. Now we don't leave the house. My mom is always in her room or on the phone crying. I don't know what to do. I just sit and play video games. From another young teenager whose family structure was upended due to fear-based relocation. I think about my dad all the time. I wonder where he is. He was supposed to teach me how to drive this spring. From a young teenage member of the Ute Mountain Ute tribe. I'm just scared because they're going after all the brown people. They can take whoever they want. Who? I asked her. The cops, she said. And from an immigrant community liaison working in one of the schools, the rumor mill is out of control. When something spreads through the community, you'll have kids absent or just hiding in the nurse's office or getting into fights. You can feel their stress. When fear is systematically induced, especially directed at specific groups, it functions like a chronic traumatic stressor. As we've heard, children experience elevated anxiety, depression, sleep disruption, and somatic complaints. Research shows that community functioning deteriorates in these conditions. So initially we might see displacement, mistrust, social withdrawal, and then downstream, those conditions worsen health and safety outcomes in the long term. A landmark US study found that each police killing of an unarmed Black person was associated with a 0.14 additional poor mental health days among Black adults, which amounts to an estimated 55 million excess poor mental health days per year nationally. So when you think about the ICE news and the videos that we're seeing, this is like a population level psychological burden. And the opposite is also true. So when DACA reduced the deportation threat, children experienced a dramatic and immediate drop in anxiety and adjustment disorder diagnoses. So policy threat levels measurably changed children's mental health outcomes. So the question before you tonight is not whether you control federal policy, but whether you can lower this community's allostatic load, the cumulative stress burden within your sphere of authority. And I want to repeat one more time the data that even a partial reduction in perceived threat measurably improves mental health outcomes, especially for children. And with this in mind, I want to turn now to part of the proposed resolution on protection from compounding harm. Recently, I was stopped in town for what I was told was rolling through a stop sign. Seems to be part of a broader uptick in law enforcement speed traps and presence in Mancus. The officer was professional. I was polite. Nothing dramatic happened. But I drove away shaking and feeling panicked. I'm like a white US citizen. So since then, I've had this feeling as I move through town in this community that I'm not like feeling watched out for when I see law enforcement. I'm feeling watched. Some have said the mere presence of law enforcement helps keep the peace, but for many of people of color in this community, including clients I work with, the sight of uniformed officers is not calming. It's somatically triggering. As one of the kiddo statements I shared earlier shows, and research shows, police contact and even the anticipation of police interactions is significantly associated with stress responses.
Thank you. I
Thank
have
you.
one question before you leave, and I should know this. What's somatic?
Somatic is body related, so it's,
Okay.
yeah, relating to the physiology.
Okay, thank you. I knew I should have known that. All right, Sarah Carr.
Hi, Sarah Carr. My address is 342 West Grand Avenue. I want to stand here in solidarity with all that was said at the last meeting with the asks for the town, and that all that my fellow Memphis folks here tonight have voiced. Standing up here is scary, but I stand here in solidarity with all of my Black and brown neighbors and students and ask that you speak up, that you use the collective voice with which the town has entrusted you to make it clear that the town will neither collaborate nor just stand by when its residents are being terrorized, unconstitutionally hunted, that will do what it can to make sure every resident feels safe. I think we all know that there's frighteningly little that you can actually do in the face of what's happening. But in moments when we have so little power, when our voice is the only thing we have, that's when our words matter most. So please use this opportunity to speak up, make the lines clear, and make it clear to our community that you see them, you value them, you stand in solidarity with them, and you will do everything that you can to protect them. We're a tiny town. The outside world, as much as it's riding roughshod over and through us right now, may not be paying much attention to what is said here, but people in town are paying attention. Our kids, our students in Memphis are listening, and they're watching what kind of town, what kind of world we're all creating for them. Students are terrified. Some parents are terrified for their kids to come to school. Students are bewildered. Some have expressed to me how much seeing children, kids their own age, parents, neighbors violently kidnapped in their own area, as well as across the country, has made deep scars in their psyches. One of my students wanted to speak to you all tonight, but can't be here, and so I have a statement to read from them. Last year, I was lucky enough to spend a year abroad. That experience allowed me not only to immerse myself in a new culture and be introduced to new perspectives, but also to represent my country. I was born here, and I'm proud of the country I have known it to be. A country built on the unity of immigrants, a country known for its melting pot, a country that thrives because of its diversity, a country that welcomes those seeking the opportunity for a better life. That is the United States of America I am proud to be from. However, that narrative has changed. ICE agents are not protecting our country. Too often, they operate in ways that reflect discrimination and racial profiling toward people who look or sound different from them. That is not the America I believe in. I do not want to grow up in a country where my friends feel unwelcome, less than, or afraid simply for being who they are. In Memphis, we speak often about having a strong sense of community, and we take pride in that. I hope to see a community brave enough to truly protect its neighbors. I hope that we in Memphis can learn from communities like those in Minnesota, where people have come together to stand up for what they believe our country's morals should be. When we stand up to injustice together, we build a community that not only cares for one another, but is willing to act in times of need. Thank you.
Thank you. Mario Davidson? Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, my name is Mario Davidson, address 35500 Road J.8. Sounds like I missed another meeting where I could have voiced similar concerns as others have, but I'll voice what I have now and I'll be brief as well. I want my town, everyone here at this table, to address these concerns through city ordinances, memos, and this current resolution that is going forward. And any further coordination with county, state, and federal governments. I do not want coordination between our marshal's office in terms of data sharing or any law enforcement efforts that are not directed by a judicial warrant to happen with federal agents, specifically those working for immigration enforcement efforts. Furthermore, I want our town marshal to have greater support and directive in protecting its citizens from constitutional violations and excessive uses of force. It is my understanding that state and local law enforcement are limited in their immunity when taking action against such violations by federal law enforcement. I say this coming from someone growing up on the border who took heed of noticing a lot of different law enforcement agencies, including Border Patrol, and amongst the people I grew up with, there was an understanding of who was pulling you over and the type of interaction you might have. And having been asked about my immigration status growing up and recently, and having been judged as a citizen or as a non-citizen, I want the sentiment to carry forward that I do not see our town marshal in that light, and I do not see them judging us in that way, and I want them to be supported that way, and that I see other law enforcement agencies as antagonistic against that. Again, I want these statements addressed in our current resolution and any further resolutions and memos and other coordinations between our town, county, and state governments. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Craig McClure.
Good evening. Craig McClure, 6554 Road 41. I'm here on what is actually an ancillary issue, not the Roosters, to what is being spoken of tonight. First of all, I thought Roosters was a restaurant on the agenda, not the end. I recently saw a mention, it was either an agenda or in minutes, of the consideration of purchase of license plate readers for the town. I find that deeply concerning. The decision to purchase license plate readers is only a small part of the impact. I would urge you guys first to ask for the necessity. Please ask the marshal's office to show us the data that says what these license plate readers would do, what they would solve, what they think they could have solved in the past, what they would solve in the future. Are they worth it? Or are they being used to track felonious assaults on stop signs? Second, I would urge you to ask for policy before purchase. This has come up with body-worn cameras as well, about ambiguity around policy. Please seek good policy on how those cameras would be used, who would have access to them, and is there a plan for the overhead time and cost to manage those systems? Those systems are not inexpensive to manage. They take a person trained in how to retain, store, and access that data and keep it secure. But most importantly, the security and Fourth Amendment rights run deep in that issue. Accessing, storing, and compiling license plate data is a search as soon as it is accessed. It falls under the Fourth Amendment. As a former officer, I understand and absolutely respect the necessity for us to protect the Fourth Amendment rights of everyone involved. This issue of cameras carries significant risk to those threats, to those rights. The use, storage, retention, and control of that data is not an insignificant issue. As an example, Mountain View, California, which may have probably the highest concentration of qualified IT people in the world, it is the Silicon Valley, found out several weeks ago that their cameras were configured improperly by themselves or the vendor, and hundreds of state and federal law enforcement agencies have been accessing their data for years without their knowledge. I promise you they have better IT people than we do, and they couldn't get it right. So I urge you, please, think about the risk and the cost, and is that worth the reward we get from it? Is there enough value to do this? And is this who Memphis wants to be?
Thank you. Adriana?
Good evening. My name is Adriana Steinmax. I live at 883 Bauer Avenue. I did not prepare anything to say tonight. I wanted to come and listen and then speak more from the heart. And I would like to urge our town to use the platform that we can to make the change that we would like to see in our community. And what we're seeing right now is harm done to many of our neighbors, community members, friends, and family. And I urge you to please support this resolution and do what you can to protect those in our community that are most at risk. We've heard and can hear so much more, if you want, of people who have experienced this harm, of the permeating fear in our community. And it's our job to support our most vulnerable community members. Speaking to the license plate piece, I would ask that that also proceed with caution, as those cameras have been known to be abused by agencies who are seeking to find people who they think are here legally, to harass people who are of color, to harass women, to harass trans people. So please proceed with caution. Use your platform to protect your community, regardless of skin color or identity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheldon Kreitzer?
I'm Valdon Kreitzer. I live at 10455 Road 39 here in Memphis.
Hey, Val, can you? Yeah, thank you.
Better?
Yeah.
All right. Tonight, I will continue reading a statement from an at-risk community member who did not feel safe to attend this meeting. To the Memphis Town Board, I long deeply for my own culture. I miss the markets, the smell of fresh tortillas and loud music, the belly laughs, colorful events, and the family structures. I miss everything. I've had so many moments I thought I couldn't take it anymore and wanted to leave. But I'm the first member of my family to own a house, and that feels so important for my children's future. Witnessing the persecution of fellow Latin Americans has changed my life forever. Knowing that my father, because of his accent and the color of his skin, could be detained at 75 years old is a heartbreak that I cannot fully explain to a white person. I have many undocumented friends and loved ones, and I worry about them constantly. I fear every phone call, wondering if today will be the day that they are detained and their families are torn apart. I urge you, as a city, to protect the most vulnerable members of our community. I urge you to make it clear that ICE is not welcome here, and to encourage local law enforcement to not cooperate with ICE investigations. I ask that Memphis choose to be remembered as a town that stood on the right side of history. Signed with urgency, a proud Latina community member of Memphis.
Thank you. Sasha? Said it right this time.
Hello, my name is Zasha, 13492 County Road 33, Memphis, Colorado.
Sasha, for the record, can you state your last name as well?
Hereford.
Okay, thank you.
I'm speaking in response to the proposed resolution, and I'm presenting to you a statement from a community member that felt unsafe attending today. Dear Town Board and community members, I write to you as a concerned resident of our beloved town. The recent rise of ICE, presence and possibility of ICE raids threatens the safety and stability of our community. ICE's constant presence and circling around our town continues to induce fear and stress into our daily lives. We have members living in constant fear, hardworking members that are scared to go out, scared while they are at work, and scared while they are at school. Our community thrives on diversity and all residents, regardless of immigration status. We deserve to live without fear, fear of deportation, fear of deportation, fear of disappearing, fear of being separated from their families, friends, and community. Sorry, this is translated from Spanish, so
It's okay.
no one should have to live their days under constant stress. No one should be scared to go get groceries or pick their children up for school. I want to express my strong opposition to any collaboration between our local government and local law enforcement, between them and ICE. I urge the town council to take the following actions. Adopt a policy of non-cooperation, prohibit local police from assisting in federal immigration enforcement, including holding individuals for ICE. Establish safe spaces, ensure that local schools, hospitals, and municipal buildings remain safe from the ICE intervention. Transparency, publicly disclose any agreements or communications between town officials and ICE. We must prioritize the well-being of all of our neighbors. I look forward to hearing how you plan to address this issue and how you plan on keeping our neighbors safe during these times. For myself, I will say last meeting was amazing and it felt like a win for many, but I'm still not leaving my house after the sun goes down and I'm still scared. So thank you.
Thank you. So that's everybody that signed up. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Come on up, sir. And please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Robin Wolfhausen. My address is 692 Riverside Avenue, Memphis, Colorado. I just want to finish.
Wait.
I need you to please repeat that a little bit.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, Robin Wolfhausen, 692 Riverside Ave.
Thank you.
Memphis, Colorado.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for asking. I just want to finish. No, actually, first I want. I'm a school social worker, and just without me prompting, kids are bringing up all the time how they're scared. It's just like happening at least once a week for the last year. So yeah, I think we can like forget, but that's data that I've accumulated over, about a year. Even just in the last 2 weeks, there was one black kid who came to me as part of a Boys to Men circle. He just said like, oh yeah, I don't go out at night. And I was like, oh, why? And he was like, oh yeah, because ICE can take anyone now. And he's a US citizen. Who's the other person? Oh yeah, a young woman who lives in Toyoak and goes to school in Cortez. She came to me and was just like, oh yeah, ICE was all over Toyoak. And we all stayed in our houses and we didn't leave. And it's well documented across the country. They're also harassing Native Americans and picking people up like that. So yeah, I just want to, those are people in our community that I've just had direct interaction with. I also want to, express my support for the resolution and everything that we said last time and that we handed over to y'all. Thank you for considering it. And just finish my statement from last time. As you sit here and consider difficult decisions about what role a small town board can make in the face of federal actions, I'm here to speak to your humanity, your morality, and to our sense of history. Often in historical times like these, people have asked, what can I do? What is right? To answer, I invite all of us to think about what our children will think about and ask about when they hear about this time and what we did during this time when they are grown. When I do this, I know it is time for us to think bigger, more creatively, more protectively, and more fiercely than we ever have in the past. And I ask this board and all of us in this room to do the same through passing new laws, speaking up louder with statements and laws, and towards concrete actions to show our mutual care, love, and protection for our Black, brown, and immigrant neighbors. That is the most American thing we can do right now. Do I have any time left?
2 minutes.
Can I talk on something totally different, or is it one subject?
Go ahead.
You can do that.
Okay,
Sure.
cool.
You want to talk about roosters?
Not roosters. Actually, I want to talk about soccer goals, which is weird. But Kiwanis, I have connections to Kiwanis and Cortez, and they've said they would probably fund 2 mobile soccer goals for Boyle Park. Right now, we have no. I also have a letter of support from the Mancos Athletic Department, Mancostown Schools, to put those in Boyle Park. Obviously, I need y'all's permission, and you need to work with Parks and Rec, but I really think it would change our culture and our life in this town to have soccer goals, to potentially have a rec department, and also with the athletic director's permission to start up and see if there's interest in a soccer program for our kids here in Mancos. I just want to throw it out there. I will come back another time, but I wanted to plant this idea in y'all's heads so we can work together to hopefully make that happen for our kids and adults. I love soccer too.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else? All right. Next item on the agenda, thank you all. Next item on the agenda is the Montezuma County Commission update. Gerald, I saw you come in.
Good evening. Most of you probably know that in the paper they saw we're working on something for blight in the county. Got a lot of areas that need to be cleaned up. According to our attorney, we don't have enough the right language in our land use code in order to enforce some of these problems, so we're working on that. Trying to get some language from different counties that do have a blight section in their land use code. As most of you probably have heard, the 7 states cannot agree on the Colorado River. The Bureau of Reclamation has some language out as to far the different scenarios that they would like to operate it under, and I think there's 5 different ones, and none of them are real great as far as upper basin states go. I think the best one of all of them is just an actual supply and driven one that whatever the supply is, that's what we divide up and we get. This living off of these reservoirs, it's not going to work. It hasn't worked, and it's just going to get worse and worse. They think they can just keep drawing from those. Especially on years like this when we're not going to produce a tremendous amount of water, and there's nothing we can do about it. Mother Nature's taking care of it, and she's going to make us take care of things correctly. I think that's what's going to happen. Hopefully they'll reach some type of agreement, but another deadline was February the 14th, and it's come and gone. And there is no agreement. They couldn't even reach a short-term agreement for 5 years, much less one for 30 years. So it's not going to be pretty, and it may end up in litigation, and that'll draw out for years and years. It's hard to say what's going to happen with that, but it could really affect a lot of our communities, more than most people realize. A lot of the storage that we have in Colorado is all post-compact. Just like Jackson, just like Bauer. All these reservoirs are all post-compact water rights. If there's a call on the river, you don't put any more water in. And it goes down the river if their priority's not right. So it could affect every one of us in our whole community here, as far as the ranches and farms and the city, depending on that water. So it could affect all of us seriously, so it's something you need to pay attention to. We're trying to keep on top of it. I spent 3 days in Denver the end of last month in the Water Congress, there was a lot of stuff going on. There's lots of scenarios out there, and they're not great, no matter what. Got a couple more lawsuits against the county.
Congratulations.
Nothing new. We are working on some of the ironwood stuff up there. I actually got to a point where we actually had to threaten those owners to put them in jail to make something happen because they were just stalling it out and just trying to pass it out. So hopefully we're gonna make something move up there by doing this approach, I hope. It's not that we're never gonna get any money back out of it, but at least we may be able to get it cleaned up eventually, so something else can happen with it. We still don't have an actual road superintendent for the county road department, but we promoted one of our groups to actually basically run the road department, but with one lead foreman taking charge of it for right now, and we're just meeting with them every Monday and running in that direction right now until we find somebody to fill it, or we may move that lead foreman up to the superintendent if he's capable of doing the job. So that's where we're at with that stuff right now. We are gonna have a cleanup day for the county, as long as you can show you're a county resident, sometime around the first part of June. We haven't actually set the dates, but we'll waive the tipping fees at the landfill. So, and basically we have to pay. The county will end up paying the landfill because that's an enterprise. So it has to make its own way. So the county we're gonna put up the money to do away with the fees for that weekend or whatever we end up doing. But as soon as we figure out a date for sure when it's to be, I'll let you know. That way everybody will be involved. I don't know, is Mancus planning one this year? Are you guys?
Two.
We do 2 a year.
We usually do spring and fall.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, announcements.
No announcements from staff, except for the fact that I will be unavailable unless it's an emergency Friday and Monday. I'll take this one.
Okay.
If there's an emergency, please tell me, but I'm not signing up.
Okay. Anybody on the board? Nothing? Okay, that's good. All right. Next item is the approval of February 11, 2026 minutes. I would entertain a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Second that.
Okay, so we have a motion by trustee Payton and a second by trustee Esparza. All right. You guys talk really softly. Like, who said that? Okay. Our next item. Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. All right. Next item is discussion and action items. This is where we talk about roosters in town.
So, some history, I guess. In 2016, I believe, 2015, 2016, this came up. The then planning commission and then board talked about it. We did make some changes to our land use code with regard to coops and enclosures and chickens running in large. So the both sections of our code were affected, both the standard municipal code and our land use code. Ultimately, the topic of roosters, it was decided that they would not be banned in general. Now, I was not in this position at that time, so I was not present at all of the meetings. I
I was able to find some old documents that at one point redlined only allowing one rooster per property. I couldn't find anything that banned them altogether. So while I don't have the entire history of that discussion, ultimately our current code does not ban roosters in town. What our land use code does in chapter 16 is it regulates where their coops are. They are now required to comply with setbacks and that type of thing. We received a couple of complaints from citizens, so we were going to meet with the planning commission. Unfortunately, the storm delayed that meeting. What I'm looking for is some direction to share with the planning commission. I've given you the packet that they would have received had the storm not happened and the meeting gone ahead. So if you would like to give them direction or items to research or anything like that, now is the time. If there is no feedback at this point, then I will just give them the same information that's in your packet and on the website and say, you guys do your research, let me know what you want me to bring to you, and then they will make a recommendation back to you as far as banning roosters, banning all-male fowl, making no changes or whatever. So I just wanted to put this before you because you will be hearing something from the planning commission. If you would like to give them direction, now would be the time to do that.
Okay, thank you. Anders, any comments?
I think that we've only heard from people who don't like roosters. We haven't had any rooster enthusiasts come up and really want them, so I think that says a lot. I fully support exploring the ban on roosters in town limits, and I can push it to planning and see if they agree with us.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem.
Ban them.
Okay.
I can hear one 3 blocks away from my house with my windows shut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we're balancing someone's right to have a rooster against someone's right to have a good night's sleep, I'm fully on the side of someone getting a good night's sleep.
David?
Same.
Yeah, and and the whole peacock thing is also annoying. So I like the idea of the, what? No, but no. That's next,
They're out of
right?
time.
So,
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that made me think of, it's already kind of tied up in our noise ordinance, but I think this came to us because we were talking about trying to create something with a little more teeth, something a little more obvious, a little more clear that could be more easily enforced. So I think maybe we can try to focus on bringing that nuisance concept into it a little more, so that, I mean, I know, you know, the idea was to get real specific, but I think also we could still write it so that someone couldn't just.
It says noisy animals.
You know,
The
well, that's what I'm saying, and we already kind of have that, which, like,
well, that's the
I would
draft.
think we could already possibly enforce it, but we're trying to just go a little further, right? I mean, that's kind of my understanding.
Yeah.
So.
To clarify.
Yeah, right. And so I think maybe just focus on whatever language we come up with that it's gonna include that, cover that scenario. Like, yeah, you can't, peacock's not gonna work either. Loud.
Right.
If the marshal comes over and he measures it with the decibels, it's doing the same thing as the rooster, and it's functionally equivalent to disturbing the peace in that manner. I think, that's just, we want to make sure we focus that the language kind of covers that scenario as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think you heard from us, we're all not rooster friendly. We're a very welcoming town, but not to roosters.
I will share that with the planning commission, and then whatever discussion, they are able to have their own discussion.
Yep.
And they will make their own recommendation to you regardless of what that is, and I'll be more than happy to bring that back to you.
Yeah.
But I will let them know that we would like them to consider a rooster ban and what that looks like in the market.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, do we have to call it rooster throughout and then define rooster as also any male fowl?
No,
or can we just say?
Call it a rooster. Okay.
Okay, here's the real deal.
Very far.
You can ban all male fowl.
Yeah.
Roosters, geese, male peacocks, you know, whatever you wanted to do. We could just use the term male fowl, or you could limit it to roosters. But I will ask the commission to discuss that.
Yeah.
Because I know we have a couple of them that actually have some experience that they can draw from in that discussion.
Yeah.
Our chairperson of the planning commission might have some information for us. So I have a note here. Actually, it says roosters, peacocks, and male fowl. So I'll present that to them, and they'll have their discussion.
Yeah.
If anybody thinks of anything, other language that you would like us to consider, in the meantime, just let me know, and I'll include that in the staff report, ask them to discuss it, research it, and make a recommendation.
Yeah. I just know a lot of times, like, we went through this whole thing of making our code a lot more clear and concise and easy to understand. And to me, to just say rooster throughout the code and then define it elsewhere, a lot of people are going to miss that. So I'm thinking whatever we decide on, whatever P&Z decides on, we should just say it throughout.
Yeah. And we will also update our definitions as necessary. But I'll ask them to make a distinction.
Okay.
There was a lot of discussion about this. There was a lot of discussion about aquaculture as well at the time. So, but I'll ask them to just focus on this and see what they come up with.
Okay. All right. Anybody want to talk about roosters again? Yeah. Go ahead, Max.
I just have one quick note. Do I have to say my name and address again?
Yes.
Max Loving, 665 Bauer Avenue. As far as male fowl, I will just say I have ducks, and my male ducks are almost silent, and my female ducks are the ones that are loud. So just language-wise, I would prefer not to have to get rid of my male ducks. No, I swear to God. No, don't make me get rid of my ducks. But yes, that's as far as language, that would be a differential.
Okay, something to consider.
Yes.
Yeah, and P&Z takes comments as well, so, you know, as they're going.
They do, and we post the packets for the planning commission on the same page that we post the packets for the board meeting.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to see all of that information. And the planning commission meetings are third Wednesday of every month at 5:30 here in this room.
And they would probably fall over if y'all came. All right.
Becky Walker, 670 West Menifee. I was the lady that showed up in the scrubs with the stethoscope around my neck when we first started talking about roosters, because I represent night shift workers. Roosters don't just squawk early in the morning, which is when a night shift person is trying to go to bed or trying to go to sleep and stay asleep. It's very important to think about. I know you're kind of all on the same page anyway, but just consider that a rooster crowing all day, every day is what that one at least does. I was at the post office the other day, which is several blocks from where that rooster lives, and I heard him crowing just like it was in my ear at 1:30 in the afternoon, which is the middle of the night for a night shifter. So it's important for the health of our night shift workers and their mental health to get rid of roosters. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? All right, we'll stop bagging on roosters. Okay, so we don't really need action on that. I think you sort of, you know, we took a little
I have some opinions that I'll share with the planning commission, and you will see this back. One way or the other, it will either be an FYI. The planning commission's recommendation to you is to take no action, and at that point you can direct me if you would like something different, or you will see this is what the planning commission recommended for an ordinance. So you will see this one or the other.
Okay, all right. Next item on our agenda is items for the March 11, 2026 meeting. We have a workshop to be determined. I'm thinking we should, yeah. We didn't get very far into that. Consent agenda will contain the minutes from tonight. It'll have February bills and claims and committee reports. And it looks like we're gonna have a recycling discussion. Anybody else have something? Heather, we'll start with you. Do you have anything else to?
I don't. I do have a virtual meeting with the city of Cortez tomorrow to talk about recycling. So I'm hoping to have some information for you all at the next meeting on that. Dolores is working with them to enter into an agreement where the city of Cortez, citizens of Dolores can sign up directly with the city of Cortez for curbside recycling and curbside refuse collection, I guess. So I'm hoping that we can set up the same thing here. I haven't spoken to them, but I'm hoping that we can kind of follow that same model where our citizens here that are interested in recycling, waste management is an option. Price they don't have any control over,
right?
But it is an option, and this will give them another option, a local option that is, I'm hoping, going to be less expensive. So that's the conversation we're going to try to have tomorrow. So I requested, it wasn't in person meeting, and I requested a video conference. So hopefully that works out. If not, I will meet them before the next meeting.
Okay.
I'm hoping to have some information for you.
Okay. Cool. All right. All right. So I would entertain, and don't jump in quite yet. I would entertain a motion to adjourn. And just for transparency purposes, we will be going into a workshop. We'll be sitting around the table talking amongst ourselves. Y'all can stay and listen if you want. We certainly all heard from you, and we'll be discussing how we want to approach this. But we will not be taking any public comment at that time. So anyway, I would therefore entertain a motion to adjourn.